whenever he called them. I'll pay you a denarius, which is a day's wage. Everybody's happy with that until it comes time to pay. And the people who had been working the whole day take umbrage that the people who come at the last hour or so are getting the same thing. Because you know what? There'll be people who go to heaven who maybe become Christians 45 minutes before they die, and others who've been a Christian for 80 years. That's not unfair because we're saved by Jesus' blood. None of us deserve it. But what does the Master say to those who protest about this? Have it wronged you? Did I do for you what I said I would do and what you said was okay? So there's another thing about this, about tending to other people's business and worrying about what other people got and you didn't get. You know how that goes in life, and you know that it never leads to any good, except we'll go around sorrowful and mourning and whining and complaining, so-and-so over there, which doesn't do us a lot of good, even if there's some truth to it. But this also tells us that if we're looking at this is people being called to serve God, is what we're talking about. You shouldn't be idle. You should serve God. That's what he wants. Not just standing around doing what we want to do, living like we want to live, and not giving him any consideration. And some people pick up on that soon. Some pick up on it very late. Most don't pick up on it at all. But when I was growing up, I heard this a lot. I don't know if people still say it. Maybe they do. We'll find out right now. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. Is that still alive and well out there? Okay, and it is alive, sick perhaps, but if we aren't engaged, the devil will engage us. And it's a lot easier to engage us if we're not engaged. One of the first eldership in a located work that I served under was raised, as most everybody else was that was of his age, on a farm and dealing with mules and animals and such. And there was a saying from when they plowed with mules: kicking mules don't pull, and pulling mules don't kick. So if we're kicking, we're not pulling. If we're whining, we're not being productive. Because God, if you will, wants his mules to pull and not kick. He wants us to be productive. And so as we're going, we are always in service to God. And the more that is true, the less we would have idle words that come out unguarded that cause people to have a reaction that's not going to help them in their relationship with God or helping in getting them in a relationship with God. Because at the end of the day, as Jesus points out here when we're looking at Matthew 12, it's a heart matter, right? Out of the heart. Jesus points out very graphically in Mark 7 and Matthew 15. Out of the heart, evil things come. Out of the heart, good things come. When he's talking about the blasphemy against the Holy Spirit in Matthew 12, he actually explains what it is if we bother to read it. He says the Pharisees are like bad trees. And he says, can a bad tree produce good fruit? Can it? No. Now, Paul got over it in the heart. That doesn't mean you can't change, but while you're like that, you can't do anything good, really, because you're not good. You're mad, you're angry, you're nasty. And you know, when you're mad, you want everybody else to not be happy either. You don't like happy people when you're mad. So you try to get them unhappy. So we're wanting to, from the readings that we had in Ephesians and Colossians, we want to spread happiness, peace, in a world where people don't find that often, where people are used to being taken advantage of, when people are used to being used, when people are used to being exploited, seeming to be a friend, but not. People get jaded, don't they, about human beings. And it becomes difficult for people to trust people. And I understand that. And we need to have a certain guard up to be a little careful about that, because people will take advantage of us. But when you find somebody that's legit, and you see them in their turn on the light at midnight moments, and there aren't any roaches anywhere close by, you realize you found somebody special. You realize you found somebody that you can trust.